When I was young, it never even occurred to me to work in the field of conservation. I didn't even know what it was. When I went to college, I wanted to be a veterinarian. But my advisor said women couldn't be veterinarians at that time. So I was searching for something else to replace it. And having been in pre-vet for 3 years, I had a lot of science classes, and I had always loved art. That had been my second love, so I went to art school. So I'm sitting in design class one day, and a friend of my instructors came in and said, "There's a great job at Smithsonian for an artist with a science background." And he looked at my background and he said, "This position's been open for 2 years and I haven't found any artist with a science background." He said, "You're hired." So this ended up then with my taking museum classes at George Washington University while I was working at Smithsonian, and then eventually going to the National Park Service. When you're a textile conservator for the National Park Service, you end up treating a lot of flags. And the flags particularly interested me because they were different. They fascinated me because when I was studying art, I like design, I like graphic design, and flags are like huge, big graphic designs. The field of conservation requires that conservators be both artists and scientists because the field is a material science.
Wow. Okay, Kathy, this has what, paper glued to it?
When I was working for the National Park Service, my reputation started spreading concerning the work I was doing with the flags. I started trying to develop better treatments for flags that would not destroy all of the historic material. People in the historic antiquities industry kept encouraging me to set up a private practice because they said, "We don't have anybody out here to work with us and treat flags for us and help us out, do authentications and things." I feel like I've done a lot of real innovative work on flags, and I want to make sure that that information is spread to the next generation of conservators.
Yeah, no, that one's on the gold. It works really well.
Because we're working on flags that have tremendous historical significance, and flags just aren't fabrics. They have a great emotional attachment to them in that it was the only way the men knew. It was their identification of their unit when they were in the battlefield. You can't see anything once they start firing because of all the smoke except for the flags. So it was a rallying point for the men and carried a lot of emotional importance. So there's a lot of emotional satisfaction in working with them and feeling like you're working on something that has a lot of meaning to a lot of people.